Hi, Sean. How are you today?
Good, thank you. How are you doing, Tiff?
I'm good. It's midweek, it's early in the morning, and it's a good start to my morning to be chatting with you.
Yeah, likewise. Did you get the lightning storm this morning at like 6:30?
It was wild. I had to take my dogs out, so it was still dark at that time, as you know. So it was pretty wild to see.
Yeah, I was still in bed. I won't lie.
Okay.
But the dogs woke us up when it started. So
Yeah. They're like, what is going on?
yeah, they're surprisingly good with thunder though.
Oh, that's good
So
to hear. But
mhm.
actually, I guess mine are too. When we went outside, though, was a different story. But inside,
Uh,
they were okay. Uh, but yeah, I'm really excited to
nice.
be chatting with you today. And as I said to you offline as well, we're definitely I'm predicting in our future because we are so close in proximity. There's gonna have to be a collab in person at some point. But
Absolutely. Yeah, there's tons of meetups all around Toronto, so we'll be able to actually work on something in person sooner or
perfect.
later. It's gonna happen. I can feel it.
I agree. But today we are connecting on a few things. One being Storybook just released version 7. Uh,
Woohoo!
so exciting! And Sean, what were you saying to me? It's been 2 years since the last release, right?
The last major release has been 2 years. Yeah, so this has been a very, very long time coming for the team, and it's long overdue. But so excited with all the new upgrades and whatnot that we've crammed in, and it seems like everyone's loving it so far too.
Nice. That's awesome to hear. Well, that's great. And I'm excited to dive into it today as well. And then on Stackbit side, our solutions
Mhm.
and engineer Arseni, he built a while back because we use Storybook at Stackbit, and
Awesome.
he built a while back this plugin, which essentially you can, or this add-on where you can go into Storybook and then
Okay.
download your models. So when they are updated or as things change, you can get instantly the latest and greatest models. So today,
Sweet.
I'll share my screen here. So you can see here, this is the project we are going to be using today. It's a simple Next.js project with markdown files.
Awesome.
And yeah, so I think, Sean, a great place to start is I have the project running locally. Let me stop it though. And let's install Storybook and get started with that.
Fantastic. Let's do it. All right. So we have a CLI that can get us bootstrapped and ready to go in a few moments. So why don't we run npx sb init? Now that's going to detect your project. Looks like we've already got it set up here, so we're all good to go.
Perfect. Yeah.
And as of Storybook 7, we have Siri. Sorry, my watch decided that it needed to let me know something.
The listeners.
Uh, as of Storybook 7, we have framework support for Next.js as well. So that's very, very exciting. Before 7.0, you had to add in a bunch of extra code to be able to mock out all the Next goodies that you get. This does it all for you.
That's awesome.
So
That's really cool. And then for anyone who's using it already, they can simply upgrade, right? For
yeah,
it,
absolutely. npx sb upgrade, I believe, is the command that will look through your package JSON, get you to the latest version, and it will even offer code mods for things that it detects are the old way of doing things that need to be upgraded to work with 7, which is awesome.
that's really great.
Yeah.
Okay.
So out of running Storybook init, we get a couple things. We get the .storybook folder, which has our main.js, which is our configuration for setting everything up. You can see in the framework section, it says storybook/next.js. We also have patterns along the top on line 3 to tell us where our story files are. And underneath that is add-ons, which is like extra features bundled in and added into Storybook. People in the community write those, we write some, and so you can tailor Storybook to exactly what you need, which is pretty
Nice.
cool.
That is
Yeah,
cool. We'll be adding in our add-on.
exactly. Yeah, so we'll be playing with this file shortly. And the
Perfect.
other folder that it
Mhm.
gives us is a stories folder with some example stories.
Okay.
and some example components too. So you can see we've got our own button component that we throw in here with a couple of little things. And if we go into the stories file, you can see how we write stories. This is the CSF3 format, which is component story format. The idea is you declare some information or the meta of your component, and then underneath here, all of these variables like primary and secondary are stories.
Nice.
So for example, we've got the large story, and that is given args, which are props for your component. So we give it the prop of size is equal to large and label is equal to button. Do we have Storybook running now?
Let's see. I don't think I started running it. No, but let's go ahead and do that.
Yeah.
Remind me again.
Npm run Storybook. Now that will be added in through the SB init too. So you should have that right out of the gate.
Perfect. Here we go.
Perfect. Now, if we go into the left panel here, you can see a drop down with button, and you can see all of the stories here. So the one that we were just looking at, large, is in there. So you can see our button. This is what it looks like when it's large. And the page we were looking at before was the documentation. Now, this is auto-generated documentation. It pulls in all of your stories. It looks at the types for your component. It builds everything out for you.
Nice.
You can see a little further down, we can see what a large button looks like right there. And you also have a show code button. So for folks that want to open it up and just copy and paste over into what they're working on, that's available to you there too.
So handy. And it's nice as a visual learner or a visual builder as well. It's just so nice to see and then be able to utilize that code.
Yeah, absolutely.
This is great.
It's great to be able to be writing stories for other components as well. That might be a little bit more complex. Yes. Hop into the stories for the smaller components like your buttons and just pop that code straight into what you're working on, and away you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
So for next step, Sean, should we write our own story, say for a button?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know that this project has its own button component, which is in the components folder. So we've got button.jsx. Perfect. Why don't we go ahead and make ourselves a new file called button.stories.js.
Stories.js. All right.
Perfect. The first thing we're going to want to do is import our button component.
Button. Oops.
Perfect.
Go here.
Now we want to export default.
Default.
An object.
Object.
The first thing we wanted to do is declare a title.
Okay. In a string or just as is?
Oh. In a string, yeah. Okay. So let's just call it stackbit/button.
/button. Okay.
Then we also want to add the button component here. So the key is going to be component. And then our button. Okay. Perfect. Now I'm blanking on some of the other things here. Can we go back to our example button story file here and just scroll up?
It's so nice it generates an example.
Yeah, exactly. Let's also grab the tags, the auto docs. We won't worry about the archetypes there. And
then tags, of course, is as it sounds like that's what generates the auto docs. Nice.
Exactly. And then after that, let's start writing a story. Okay. So let's copy and paste the primary button story here. Whee! Okay, so what we need to do is hand in some args or props.
Okay.
We don't have a primary prop on our button component, so we can probably just get rid of that. But I know we've got label.
Yeah, label. Yes, label.
URL,
URL.
and theme.
Yeah, label. URL.
Why
What
don't
is
we put Stackbit in there? Let's put Stackbit's address in.
just static.com is okay?
You probably are going to need your HTTPS.
Full. Is that right? I always,
Perfect. Yeah,
the things you take for granted.
absolutely.
And then the
It's
other
like how I
one,
can't remember anyone's phone number anymore.
I know completely. I can that's the one I have down pat still.
Perfect.
All right, so then theme as well.
Theme. Let's just set that to default.
Default. I think it's lower. Yeah, correct. Sorry, I'm flipping back and forth here. There we
Yeah,
go.
so let's save that. And so
Okay.
the one other thing that we're going to need to do before this story is available to us is we need to go into our main JS file that we looked at earlier inside
Story.
Storybook.
Okay.
So in the stories array here,
Hmm.
we need to add another pattern in. So it's not in the stories folder, it's in our components folder. So let's add that there. We'll add the same slash double asterisk stories that, yeah, there we go.
Label this, right? Yeah.
So let's save that. Now, when you make changes to main.js, you do need to stop and restart your Storybook server so that it can take those config changes. We'll get that running again.
To open up, have a sip of coffee while it's loading.
Always a great idea. I already finished my coffee this morning, so
Nice.
shouldn't have another one or I'll be shaking all day.
I know, as you're speaking or typing, I've been there too many times.
And as you can look at this already. So we can see on the left-hand side, we've got Stackbit and we've got our button here. So we've got docs already loaded in for your label, your URL, and your theme. And if we look into primary, we have a button.
We have a button. Just like that. It's amazing.
Now, let's see. Is it styled the way that we would expect?
So if we
had a bunch of styles, didn't we?
We did have some styles.
Now, where did those come from? Let's have a look. Let's go back into your project.
Okay.
And go back to the button component. Now, this looks like Tailwind, doesn't it?
It is, yeah, yeah.
It is Tailwind. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to import our Tailwind CSS into Preview.js. So where is that CSS file hiding?
Oh, let's get it here. Where are you, CSS?
Styles. There it is. Probably in there, right? Global CSS. Perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is go into our .storybook folder, and we're going to open the other file this time, Preview.js.
Okay.
Now, Preview.js is all of the code that is going to be used inside the iframe where our components are loaded.
Okay. Okay.
And so when we import CSS files, it will make it available to us. So what we're going to do is underneath this type thing. Yeah, there we go. Actually, I think we want to put it above that because that needs to be for the preview object. So drop that down. We want to import our CSS file. We don't have to do it global. We're just going to put it in a string.
Okay.
And go out into our root folder.
Oh, okay. Are we
/styles.
Where styles? Here we go.
/global CSS. Now let's save that. Now, when you update the Preview.js file, you don't need to restart the server. So if we go back into Storybook now, boom, button, the way it was meant to be seen.
Yeah, that is so cool. That makes sense because we weren't importing the CSS, so without that, you're not going to get that. So it's the preview file that you will need to import it to, which makes sense.
That's right.
Yeah. So cool. And so it's so quick. Like I know this example's with a button, but thinking, as you scale and grow your project, it's just so you're able to do it so quickly.
Absolutely. And I'll
Story.
give you a little tiny sneak peek into
Okay.
something that I'll be working on in the next little while. Is I want to be able to detect things like your tailwind and be
Mhm.
able to have that set up in the initial storybook init as well, so you wouldn't even have to add that part.
Wow. So just from that running this storybook init, it will be detected and imported through running that command, like into
That's
the.
the hope.
Wow. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, I'll
Yeah,
stay tuned. I'll stay tuned for that when that comes.
sounds good.
All
I'm
right.
excited about it.
That
But
is
we've got that. So why don't we get into the real exciting bit and get Stackbit set up in Storybook?
it. Before we do the Stackbit portion, let's install the add-on and then from
Yeah.
there install Stackbit. So I have the add-on. My memory is terrible. So I have it written down here. So give me a sec. I'm just going to copy this. So this
No problem.
add-on is for the specific the specific version that works that is updated actually this morning is 1.0.5. So this is the command we're going to run in the
Perfect.
folder here.
Yeah, for our listeners at home or wherever you might be, we just released the stable version of Storybook 7 on Monday. We're recording this on Wednesday morning. So yeah, we did a little bit of finagling to get the add-on updated for Storybook 7 today.
It's perfect. All right, so then let's go into main where you as well said to add specify the add-ons. So this
Yeah,
one is at storybook /stackbit.
I think it's at Stackbit
Is that what it is?
slash Storybook add-on, right? Yeah.
John, how do you I can't remember a thing. I have it written in my notes and you remember this. There we
And
go.
I can't remember anything else. It's okay. Together we make one functional human being.
Exactly. I like it. All right, perfect. So for next step, let's run Storybook again because I just want to show the
Yeah.
on. There we go. So now if we go into our Stackbit button into primary here, and we go into Stackbit, now you can see there's this tab for Stackbit, and then we also
Yeah.
have, you can see here our module exports, and we can simply download the model.
Woo!
So this, this plugin or this add-on, I should say, was really built out of, as I mentioned, we use Storybook internally at Stackbit, and
Yeah.
the solutions engineer was like, this is something I just really find like I want to automate for myself or find a use case for myself, and that's kind of how it came about. Which I think sometimes is always the best way to go about things is when you find a need.
Absolutely.
So let me take this here. You can also place the file directly, of course, in the code, but because we already have that, where is the, okay, give me a sec here. I'm getting all, now we need to go to our models, Stackbit button, because this is our model here. And right now it's a bit different than what it currently, the way it's built right now is best with just plain old JavaScript, but we are updating it continuously. So let's just change this to JavaScript for now.
Sounds great.
And then back in the button component here, I'm going to save us some time and I added it here. We're going to import prop types and define the prop types here.
Perfect.
Also import import prop types. I'll need to install it as well from prop types and do a quick install. Stop this. Am I prop types? There we go.
Ooh.
And then what we'll do here, so to get started with Stackbit, there's really two things that you need to do. The first is run the command line, install the command line, which I've already done. But if you are following this project, let me just pull up the specific docs on it. So it would literally just be npm install and you can install it globally, Stackbit, /CLI at latest. And then at that point, right down here, you would add in a config file, which I've done.
Awesome.
And I have right now, I have it commented out, but I'm going to uncomment it. And this is essentially letting the config file know about our models, the model that I was just updating here, and then also to letting you know about Stackbit version, CMS name, kind of the basics, but it's literally 12 lines, which is pretty cool. So then if I go, if I start running the, wait one sec here, do we have the terminal running? Nope. Okay. So I'll do npm run dev again. And let's just make sure it's working locally on 3000 here. Running still. Perfect. And then when you run Stackbit dev, it's still working fully. You're still completely working locally. Essentially what it's doing is we're spinning up another server called localhost 8090 and then proxying your project from there. Proxying your project back to 3000. So when we're just adding in a bit of bells and whistles, I like to say. So this is still completely local, which is really cool because to make changes, you can see them immediately. You can also see here in content, all of our content, which is coming from our markdown files. And then if I scroll down to sections, which is this hero section here, give me a sec here. We can see, oh, where is our button? It's hiding on us still. Give me a sec. There should be a button back here. Okay, we have button. We installed prop types. We want to see the theme default and outline. Prop types here. Config.
Do we need to update the model now that we've added the prop types?
The model should be fine. Okay. Oh, you know what? Yes. Thank you, Sean. You know what it is? Where is our model now? We need to, when I was testing this out, I remembered the name is lowercase button. Here, I believe, where is it? Where was it that it's lowercase? Oh, sorry. It's lowercase button here. So let's go and see. This should resolve the issue. Let's just do a little refresh here.
Sounds good.
Was button. There we go.
Woo!
Spelling is always the thing that will get you, or the so you can see here in button now we have our theme as well, which right now is outline. And then we can also, if we wanted to change it to default or however we wanted to structure it. So now you can see, I don't know, can you see down in the right corner?
Yeah.
So we go from outline and default as well. Back and forth. But yeah, so this is just another way that you can really work with both Storybook and Stackbit to build really quickly, in my opinion, and also very efficiently.
Yeah, absolutely. This is fantastic. So you get to do all of the visual development for your components in Storybook, but then you get to build out your pages really quickly with Stackbit.
Exactly.
That's fantastic.
I love that. Yeah, exactly. And speaking of new pages, you could even add a new page here. Right now, as I mentioned, the project's running locally, but once you spin this up into a cloud project, you can work with, you know, your marketers, your content editors, and they can come into this visual editor and start using these tools as well. And then you as a developer can continue to build with Stackbit and Storybook locally, which is a win-win in my opinion.
That's awesome.
This has been great, Sean.
It has been fantastic. Thanks for having me this morning.
Thanks for being here. I'll link everything down below and we'll catch up soon.
Sounds great. Take care.